welcome to another day, another podcast video. Pretty big one as I have a huge guest joining me for the first time at Wolf Den Wrestling Podcast. Uh, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, Narcolepsy Boy 94 here. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. Always good to talk some wrestling with other fans, other creators. So excited to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you on my show. And what a topic to talk about, because to put it bluntly, 2025 was not well, in general, was not a good year for WWE, but most especially not for two superstars that should be at the absolute top of WWE, and they have not been booked as such. LA Knight and Drew McIntyre. What is going on? Because, like, why? Like, if you have one of the top, like, you have one of the top talkers in the entire company in LA Knight, and someone who is immensely over, and has stayed that way, and then you keep him losing every opportunity. You had that ridiculous time where you took the U.S. title off him for Shinsuke Nakamura, that a heel the Shinsuke that didn't work.
Yep.
And then you gave it back to him. You had him drop it to Jacob, and then he kind of just floundered and coasted. You had him in the Vision feuding with the Vision, kind of in a vortex with the Vision, and not really getting anything out of it. He beat Seth, which he wasn't supposed to. He only beat Seth because of the worked injury. But like, afterwards, he didn't do anything, and he constantly lost opportunity after opportunity. And Drew just can't catch a break. He just cannot get anything at all. Like, it does beg the question, does WWE just not see anything in LA Knight and Drew McIntyre, and can their careers carry on in WWE? Because that write-off angle for LA Knight was like the level of a write-off as like Ricochet, and we know where Ricochet is at now, champion of the other company. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me. And WWE is surprised that people perceive that write-off angle for LA Knight as a possible burial. I'm like, why are you surprised? You like screwed him over time and time again, and like, he needs something. Like, this kind of booking doesn't work for top talent like LA Knight and Drew McIntyre. It's just disrespectful, and like I legit thought at one point, like I genuinely thought, like, after that angle, like, he might walk out. Like, I legit thought, like, maybe
come
LA
on Monday.
Yeah, on Monday. I was like, did LA Knight just walk out? Like, what is he, like, done? Like, what is going on? Like, it makes no sense to me to especially when they were like stalling and then they just didn't do anything. I don't know what's going on. What do you think? Am I crazy?
No, I mean, those are valid criticisms, valid reasons. I mean, I think a lot of us. Sorry, I had to plug in, make sure my mic was working. I think a lot of us have certain questions we would like answers to. Excuse me. As why is I don't know what more LA Knight has to do to get an opportunity.
Exactly.
He's solidified as one of their main event guys. I'm not saying he has to be in the main event of WrestleMania or SummerSlams or anything like that, but he could easily be a world champion.
Should be multi-time world champion by now, in my opinion.
He could be a world champion. I felt like this was the Money in the Bank this year for him to win. The last 2 years, there's reasons for that. You want to give it to Damian Priest to elevate him. Sure, okay, that's fine. Last year, He didn't win, but we saw the road for the U.S. title for him to beat Logan Paul, so that was fine. Even though it didn't work out the way we had envisioned, afterwards, but we knew like
Yeah.
him versus Logan was an idea that was
Yeah.
that was
It made sense, even though, like, in all honesty, the Drew and Punk feud didn't need to burn up Money in the
yeah,
Bank.
it didn't need that, but we knew that plans for Logan to lose the U.S. title to LA Knight was in the future, so we were cool with that.
Yeah.
But this year, I really felt this was the year for him. I don't think Seth really needed the Money in the Bank, even though, it added to the Vision storyline and everything, which, not an issue with that. But I felt this would have been a whole opportunity to elevate LA Knight up. You have a whole year to cash in the Money in the Bank, so you can plan out an entire year with him holding the briefcase until you're ready to execute his cash in properly. With Drew McIntyre, I don't like that they keep using him to be the guy to put over other superstars to help elevate their stories or make them bigger champions. He's been doing that since 2021, and we're almost in 2026. So I feel like for Drew, you got to stop putting him in those positions if you don't have plans for him to be the champion. Drew is in a very fine spot. He can tell good stories without a title. He can be in high-profile matches without a championship. He's been proving that. But
Of course.
I think you got to stop putting him in title matches against Cody or CM Punk or Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins or, AJ Styles, whoever the champion is. Like, you got to stop putting him in these big title matches if you don't really have plans to execute to make him the champion, at least for a little bit. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time, but you got to stop putting him in those type of positions, because now people are starting to see the repetitive cycle of you're putting Drew in these prominent positions, but you're not executing it. He keeps losing and losing and losing, and eventually it's just going to make fans not care anymore. And when fans don't care anymore, that's when superstars start to die down and lose momentum and lose steam, and they fall in that what if category. And you don't want, people to fall in that category, especially like the LA Knights, who haven't achieved the world championship yet. Drew's got it a couple of times, but LA Knight hasn't been able to achieve that yet. I feel like the opportunity they gave Jey Uso, I feel LA Knight would have succeeded more in that spot, because Jay's another guy who got massively over like LA Knight, and was in a prominent spot and was one of the most over baby faces. So when he won the Rumble and got that opportunity, I wasn't mad at it. I felt that he deserved at least the opportunity to see if he could be at that level, because he's like one of your top 5 merch sellers in the company. Like, he clearly is one of the most over guys, so you got to at least give him a chance.
And top 5 talkers of the company. Like, he's good. He's good on.
And Jay had been consistently over for a long time, so he also was losing big moments and big matches that people had felt kind of the same way with LA Knight. Like, he got the mid-card title, but he didn't have it long. Kind of just had it for maybe a couple of, maybe like 3 weeks, maybe a month at that. And then he had to pass it on back to Braun Breaker. So they gave Jay the Rumble win. They gave him the world title, the opportunity. But I feel like Jay hasn't really shown much quality of him being able to level up to be a submitted singles guy in that main event spot. I think LA Knight would have succeeded more, because I think he's better on the mic. I think he has better matches, and I think he just is a better singles competitor. So I feel like if they can give Jay the opportunity, you can give LA Knight that chance, man. You just have to really, it's all about figuring out a story and just, believing in him. And I don't know necessarily if they read him off TV. I've heard different rumors. I've heard different sources say that, his contract is coming up like next year, and this is the way they're writing him off TV. But I've also heard that he's getting a big spot next year. So I don't know what's true and what's not true.
Yeah. I mean, I heard he signed a new deal recently, and he's there until like.
Yeah. So I don't know the credentials of his contract. So you can't believe everything you read on the internet. But I do feel 2026 has to be the year LA Knight gets moved up. If he doesn't get moved up at least a spot where he's at, then that just tells us what we need to know, that they just don't believe in him.
Right. Like, some people have thought about, like, are there other people that just like backstage that might not like LA Knight, such as a Bruce Pritchard, as maybe what's it called? I don't know, Nick Khan maybe, or what, Abyss. I doubtful Abyss, but I don't know. But there, I mean, the reason why I titled this podcast episode the way I did is because there is only one person who is in charge of creative, who is the head of it, and that is Triple H, Paul Levesque. It's hit like if he actually cared about LA Knight, he would make sure that like LA Knight would not get like dragged around like this. Like it screams laziness. It screams that Triple H does not actually care about LA Knight like he pretends to. It's just that's the perception you've given, and not to mention, and 2025 as a whole has just been awful for WWE in my opinion. In my opinion, it's the second time in a row a year has been awful because I didn't like last year. Last year I thought was after WrestleMania 40 it went downhill. It's just like I don't know what's going on. 2026 things need to change, and if you now have the vision, you have Braun Breaker versus CM Punk at the first Raw of 2026, and there were reports that they want to do Breaker winning the Rumble facing Punk at WrestleMania. Just don't wait that long. Just have Breaker win against Punk, even if it's masked men and interference and stuff. If you want to shut people up about LA Knight being potentially buried by this company again and again, the easiest way to fix that is you give LA Knight the Rumble. Yeah, I think LA Knight has to win the Rumble and face Braun Breaker at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title. Because like, what are we gonna do otherwise? Like, he comes back. Like, how are we gonna incorporate that if it's just gonna be Punk and Breaker? Like, where is the pathway? I don't see the pathway. And I can say the same thing for Drew. Like, you can't if you want to do Drew and Cody again. At the latest at the Rumble, whether it be the Rumble or the first SmackDown of 2026, where they go 3 hours, you cannot have Drew lose again because it's like what do you do at that point? You've like there's no point doing Cody and Drew again if we're just gonna have Drew lose. Like you've already had him lose clean, basically twice. Well, one was not so clean, but mainly clean, mostly clean, like twice. You cannot afford to do that a third time, especially since there's not like SmackDown. For some reason, WWE has this thing where SmackDown has like half the size at minimum, at least, probably no, like more, maybe even more, maybe like a third of the size of Raw. And I never understood why they do this. It drives me insane. You don't really have people for Drew to work with at this point. Like, and you don't even have people for Cody. Like, even if you give Roman or the Rumble or the Chamber and have him, we do Cody Roman 3. God, I hope not. Like what do we do with Drew McIntyre? What do we do with Randy Orton? What do we do with Jacob? And then like everyone else is like not at the main event level, has not been established at the main event level. Like Priest and Alistair have been like stuck in a forever feud that can't make it onto a pay-per-view. Alistair has not been on a pay-per-view since coming back to WWE, which also drives me crazy. But another day. It's just like there's not enough. Like maybe if we had other people, we had Sami Zayn kind of back in a main event spot. If we had Kevin back, hell, if Jericho came to WWE and we put him in the main event scene, maybe. But like right now, you have like parts of a division. You cannot sustain that with just repeating things for like 6 months.
Yeah, I agree, man. I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, I don't understand. 2026 things have to change. Otherwise, like people are gonna get sick of WWE. Like this year has not been good. Even during like Cena's retirement, people have not been satisfied because it felt bland,
Mhm.
to be honest. Not really necessarily bad. It was just like bland. I mean, yeah, Dwayne ditched, Travis sucked at doing the work. He didn't care enough. But like afterwards, it's just like we didn't really. The only one who benefited majorly from the retirement tour was Dom. Uh, and it's like, what? Why? Like, why? I never understood it. I don't get it. But yeah, LA Knight and Drew McIntyre need to get elevated immensely in 2026. Like these guys can be top players, faces of the company level. Uh and if not, like it does you don't if you don't push them, it gives people like me the question, would they be better off in places like TNA or AEW?
Mhm.
Because right now I'm legit thinking True Galloway would be perfect in AEW with facing people like Hangman, like Kenny, like Swerve. Like right now, confidence is shaky, and I don't know why they would pretend to be surprised when they're the ones that gave that perception.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have other stars they're going to push over the individuals that we're talking about, but you got to figure out how to fit them in that aura in that spot as well, and that's what they've been struggling with, trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to make LA Knight an established guy, keep Drew in the fold, but also satisfy the audience or majority of the audience. So it's a tough, rocky situation, Hopefully,
You don't need them to have like long title reigns, like world title reigns, especially like a 3 or 4, like a decent 3 4 month long reign would be good for even for someone like LA Knight. Like for example, the world heavyweight title, Priest had like 4 months with that
yeah,
title.
yeah, yeah.
And in my opinion, personally, I think he's the best world heavyweight championship since they introduced the belt. Because it was
Mhm,
enjoyable. It was
mhm.
fun to watch him like be active, like with that belt and defending it and doing things with it. Like as long as you're working, having them work, and even if they have it for like 4 months, it would be good. But it's just a matter of effort. And right now, I don't think there's much of an effort there, and they should make the effort for people like LA Knight and Drew McIntyre because again,
Yeah.
they are top of talent. Like they are top of the company. There's no excuse to just not bother.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not in the creative rooms. We're not in the booking decision, so we only can look at it from the fans' perspective. I don't know what the explanations are why these people aren't getting the opportunities, and they're massively over, especially like in LA Knight when he's done all the right things to get himself organically over with the audience, but isn't being rewarded for something on that end to kind of help catapult him up a little further. So, like I said, I don't know what much more he could possibly do. 2026, if he's still around, is going to tell us a lot whether or not they believe in him as at least a world champion type guy, or if they just feel like he's just a popular guy on the roster that they feel like they can just plug in and use wherever. He doesn't have to be the champion, which some people don't need the championship necessarily, but I feel like for LA Knight, he has to at least get it once. You know what I mean? At least give
Yeah,
it to him one time and then see how he can be as the champion, see what he can do after winning the championship. If he fails and it doesn't work like it did for Jay Uso, even though Jay's was a short reign, but
yeah,
there wasn't much quality there even with that short reign. So
right.
with Jay Uso, I think him dropping the title to Gunther was a good decision, especially with Punk getting it and then the Seth Cash and all that stuff. That was cool. But I feel like for LA Knight, I'm hoping he gets some type of rub next year in 2026 where
Right.
he can at least finally take the next step that he needs to finally take to say, hey, I'm a main event guy now.
Yeah. Drew, I think, just needs a proper run, a proper reign, and like one proper reign would probably be enough to leave people satisfied for like the rest of his like career. If it was like satisfactory and it was like it's not like, oh, he just wins a title and he coasts by and like nobody challenges him. But if he's like actually doing working, actually doing things with while holding that title, people would probably be satisfied until he's done with WWE because like he got something good. He was given the opportunity. He's a multi-time world champion, and one of those reigns he was uh given work to do, like he was able to have that full run. Uh in my like I don't know, like last year or the year before they were willing to take these kind of uh risks. Like they had Priest win the world title, and in all honesty, like I mean maybe he might win it another win the world title again, but like if he doesn't, I personally don't care because Priest did well with the world title, and he just proved himself that he could be a main event guy. Or but being a high mid card low main eventer is like good for him. It's just I don't know what their thought process is.
Yeah.
Don't It's just been so disappointing. And like if they again, if they had people that it made sense that they were pushing LA Knight and Drew McIntyre aside for, I'd get it. Like, but they don't have Kevin Owens. Like if Kevin was there, I'd be like, okay, fine. We have Kevin, so Kevin's obviously going to get more spotlight because Kevin
Mhm.
is one of the best like all around talents in all of WWE history.
Mhm.
Um, and especially like that, and like just before he got injured, his heel work with Cody with Randy was great.
I
Uh,
agree. I
you
agree.
have like if they put Sammy in a higher position, I'd understand. Sammy is very popular, and but right now I thought like with the Rumble in Saudi, I thought surely it makes sense for Sammy to win the Rumble, and Drew winning the world title. They could do Drew and Sammy again at WrestleMania, and finally have Sammy win the world champion and finally beat Drew McIntyre because he has not done that. I like the story is there, and it seems like they're just dropping that idea.
Well, yeah, people also got to think WrestleMania. They're going to put on the biggest matches possible too. This is the biggest show of the year, so the main events are going to be big marketing main events that can sell money, make a lot of money, and intrigue people's interest. So,
Right.
Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre is a dope match, but like that's not a match that you're going to sell WrestleMania on as the biggest match on the show when you have
Right.
other
I
guys
mean,
in the company.
I figured they would like. I mean, they could also just. It would also on the like upside, uh, uh, like I guess as a counterpoint, they could use that as a way to give the women a main event. Like if they did someone like at the top, like they did. Uh, what's it called? Stephanie and someone else, it would be big. Honestly, as much as like people not necessarily liking Jade, in my opinion, Bianca and Jade was definitely Mania main event worthy. Because just on the scale, the spectacle that it is, it makes sense for a Bianca versus Jade to main event WrestleMania. I I don't know. Maybe they're just kind of going too safe or too obvious. What's it called? Randy is still in Saudi apparently after training speed. He's in Mr. Beast land apparently or something like that. I don't know. Uh I don't know what the plan is for Randy or other people, but like right now, you on SmackDown especially, you don't have many main event guys. You have Drew, you have Cody, and like Sammy isn't up there. Solo kind of not like yeah, Solo had a great match with Gunther, but Solo is not at the level that
Right.
top level. And it's like Randy's not there, Kevin's not there, uh, Jacob is currently not there, Ilya is U.S. champ, and it's like I wish he was treated as such, but Alistair like is stuck in a low main eventer feud with Priest that can't ever be on pay per view, and it's like what are we gonna do? Like maybe Alistair he'll be on in the Rumble match, but like can he get in any other pay per view? Like
Yeah, that's a good point.
like there's not really much of an excuse to have Drew McIntyre just continuously lose uh like this. So I really don't know what the plan is, but things definitely need to change because 2025 has been horrendous. Um yeah, like late I saw today there were reports about WWE telling Fightful about uh LA Knight, people talking about LA Knight, and that which led to them saying they're surprised that they considered Monday's angle burial and all that. Apparently they shot down the idea that he's getting punished because he held out up that we want LA Knight, not Jey Uso sign. I'm like, yeah, you had him beat Jey Uso, but like he just it wouldn't make sense to do Jey Uso versus Gunther for like the 10th time when people are already sick of that match. So it's not really necessarily enough to have him just beat Jey Uso in the tournament and get the right to lose to Gunther. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, but we got a lot to handle. Saturday, I mean, I'm assuming Drew will show up on Saturday to cost Cody against Oba. That's probably like the most reasonable, the most realistic expectation. Uh, especially if you want Oba to win against Cody, which I think they easily can. They should have Oba beat Cody, even if it's because of Drew McIntyre. If you're gonna do Drew and Cody again, yeah, you might as well just have him cost Cody against Oba. Um, I don't know. Well, LA Knight, I don't see coming back for the rest of the year, at minimum. I don't know if he'll show up on January, uh, during the Breaker and Punk match, especially given the fact that we still don't know the masked man or men if there's multiple, because there are people saying it's multiple, but
Yeah, some people think it's two people.
yeah, some people saying potentially Austin Theory and Montez Ford because apparently Paul Heyman does like very much like Montez Ford. The thing is that leaves the problem of what happens with Angelo Dawkins. I don't know. I really don't know. Some people think maybe it could be Ricky. Now that he's turned heel against Javon, they could have him go up and be part of the Vision, but I don't know. There's just a lot going on, and there's no reason to just completely abandon LA Knight and Drew McIntyre when they are both top stars that people want to see. Because especially like Drew is a believable guy. He's meant to be like a champion. He has the look. He has the resume basically, and it doesn't make sense to completely abandon him.
Yeah, I'm hoping 2026 can be a better year as well. There's some things that I definitely would like to see happen. Some superstars I'd like to see get elevated further, or at least move up a notch. But
Yeah,
I think I think this year has been the worst Triple H has had so far.
easily. Yeah,
There's been some good things, been some bad things as well. It's really been hit or miss this year. It's been a hit or miss year. I feel like there were things they definitely could have done a little bit different, but there were things that I also felt weren't as bad as some people made it out to be either. So hopefully next year can be a better year for sure. I mean,
it's
the first few.
so. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just for me personally. It gives. I have the perception that this year it was just so bad this year that it feels like weirdly Triple H is like trying to be worse than Vince, even though he can't get there. Exactly. It's like I don't understand it. I don't know the thought process, but it's like it's self sabotage, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Where's the guy like from the Booker of NXT, Black and Gold? Like, why is he not here instead of?
Yeah, well, NXT has always been different than the main roster, so NXT Triple H can never be on the main roster. People had to realize when Triple H was in charge of NXT, they appeal to a smaller audience, and they don't have the money revenue that is invested into NXT. Vince didn't even watch NXT when he was there. People who were superstars in NXT said that Vince never watched, which is why when they came up to the main roster, they were always getting changed. He was changing their names, their characters, their presentation because
Yeah,
he didn't see what they previously have done or didn't understand what they were. So they were always getting changed and then they got buried or forgotten about, whatever the case is. Shawn Michaels is able to do the same thing now in NXT because NXT has a smaller audience, because there's people who watch WWE's product Raw and SmackDown, but they don't even watch NXT. So
right.
NXT doesn't have that big audience opposed. So Raw and SmackDown, that's where the money's at. That's where you get the sponsors. That's where you get the viewership. That's where you get all the big deals, and you have a bigger audience to appeal to. So you have stars already established like Cody, Roman, and other people that superstars are going to want to see use. But then you also
Right.
have to try to fit in a mold to try to create the new stars as well, or make some new stars more relevant on the main
Yeah.
roster that come from NXT. So it's a different balance. And
I
Triple H also has other people that he has to answer to as well. Like TKO is the one that owns the company. So Triple H may be head of creative, but
yeah,
TKO still has an input on certain things that Triple H also has to appeal to as well. So,
right.
Brock Lesnar coming back, that could have been a TKO thing. You know what I mean? They could have said, hey, we want to bring Brock Lesnar back for the views and the money. That could have been out of Triple H's hands. He could have been like, all right, well, I mean, it's out of my hands. If we're going to bring Brock back, then we'll try to make it work and figure it out. So if Triple H had owned the company fully, I think the WWE would be a little bit different. If you look how WWE was in 2022, 2023, I think that was more of his vision, his style of things
Yeah.
that he wanted to do and things that he saw and things that he believed. Now, TKO is involved and a lot more bigger deals are involved. They have to do certain things to just appeal to different people
I
and
mean,
the
it's
fans.
not exactly working because now they're like the fact that they're like so desperate for corporate profits for like all these sponsors having these advertisements and just desperately trying to get every penny they could possibly can along with their ridiculous ticket prices. It's like it's not working. And now like ESPN, there's been reports about ESPN regretting the deal with WWE because it's like it's not working out, especially when their first pay-per-view on ESPN was easily among the worst of the year. Like it's just and this like weird obsession with trying to babyface Vince McMahon of all people. It's like, why would you do that? It's like you have like one of the worst people on earth, and why are you trying to go out of your way to be worse? It's like it never made sense to me. Uh, I don't know. I really don't know. Like I did think of the possibility. Like I, it's been so bad that I legit thought, what's it called? if 2026 doesn't get better and it continues like spiraling downward, I legit had the fear, like of the possibility of them just selling it back to Vince, in like 2026 or 2027. Like, I have to think about that because of how bad uh it's been. Like, it just, I don't know. I really don't know. Nothing makes sense in the world anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about them selling it back to Vince. I don't know if they can even do that.
Yeah, maybe they'll sell it to the Saudis instead, and then the company would be dead.
Yeah, the Saudis got the money for sure. So
I don't know. But yeah, like we said, this is not sustainable. This, what we did with LA Knight and Drew McIntyre and other top stars, it is not sustainable moving forward. 2025, it was just not a good year. I would rather them learn from it and not repeat it for
yeah,
2026. Otherwise, I just may completely lose faith in the company, because one bad year I can handle, 2 bad years it'd be a concern, 3 in a row I wouldn't be able to handle it any longer. I would probably be done with WWE.
yeah, everybody's got different preferences. You know, some people stop watching, some people continue to watch. You know, they're always going to have their hardcore fans at the end of the day that
Yeah.
will watch no matter what. So you know, it's one of those situations. It just depends on your criteria and what you like and what you expect and what you watch for. And you know, everybody
Yeah.
watches for the same reason. Some people watch for different reasons. But I think 2026 hopefully will be a better year. I think things always usually pick up around the Rumble leading into Mania and everything. So I think
We're praying.
2026.
We're praying here.
Yeah, I think 2026 should be a better overall year. At least to me, it should. But
Yeah, hopefully. I'm definitely hoping for the best. Yeah, pretty chill stream today, I guess. Thank you so much for. I usually have hotter takes and more controversial-ish opinions, but
no, you're
I kind of just didn't really think of it and didn't really bother. And
yeah, it's all
uh,
good, man. No worries. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
thank you so much for coming on. Very much appreciated. Please, everyone watching, please like, subscribe, this podcast video, as well as the No Name Wrestling podcast, and his channel. Yeah, pointing the right way. And everyone involved. I'm very appreciative once again for you coming on and having this conversation with me.
And thanks for having me, man. Much appreciated, man. Keep doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, and make sure you guys hit the subscribe button.
Yep. All right, we're gonna call it here. Goodbye.